And welcome back to the Basil Breen Boombox. I have to turn it on as soon as I need to, you know what I mean? I'm here with Killer Ceol, a.k.a. Dunwar 4. Now, let me try explain this one. I did a translation of Killer to Irish. So I was trying to do the opposite of your thing. Okay. So it's like Dunfar music I was supposed to do. So you were Killer Ceol. So I was thinking
Dunvaroo was murder, yeah?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Dunvaroo was murder.
So I couldn't find Killer.
It's probably murder or killer. It's probably the same thing in Irish.
I couldn't find a translation for Killer. So I was trying to be clever. I was like, God damn it, because Killer Ceol is such a good name anyway. So I couldn't, you put me in a tough position. I had to go back to my Irish dictionary just to try and get something for you. But anyway, Killer Ceol, we'll just go with him. I've met this man as I've been traversing the music scene around Dublin and Donabate, the show-off sessions. He's a staple figure, you know, of the community, you could say. And now we're here doing a podcast after, I don't know, it's been a while actually since we've talked about this. I think I maybe asked you a while, but then the gods have finally aligned for us to get here. So I really appreciate you coming on. And obviously, you know, we at the Basil Breen Boombox, we've learned that we like to start at the beginning.
Okay.
So when Killer Ceol was first born, when did he come into the music world? Like, how did you get going in music and just in general?
So I played my first gig when I was 17.
Wow.
25 years ago.
Oh my goodness, you look great.
Your maths is good, you know.
Yeah.
I got a band together with a few mates when I was a teenager, and we started playing together and gigging and doing all that stuff. So that was a long time ago. Now that was all original music, a few covers, mostly original stuff like that. We did demos. We did demos on cassette tapes and all that kind of stuff.
Cassette tapes?
Yeah, our first 2 demos were on cassettes. So yeah, different time, different generation, you know.
What's it like? How do you record on a cassette tape?
We used to make demos on 4 tracks.
Oh, 4-track recorders.
4 tracks. So a guy I knew in school used to record people on his 4-track, and then after a while, so many people were asking him, he'd give them a loan to 4-track and say, "Oh, you know how to do it. You do it yourself," kind of thing. But we did one with him, and then I think the second we did ourselves. But you'd have a tape cassette in the 4-track, and then you'd mix it all, bounce it onto the tape, and then you'd have your tapes, and then you'd just duplicate the tapes, and you'd hand out the tapes and make your own inlay cards. And it was all DIY. It was great crack, you know.
So with a 4-track recorder, if you think about it, you're listening to this podcast now, whoever you are, and there's 2 tracks. Like there's my vocal track and there's his vocal track. So a 4-track recorder, there's basically like 4 channels that you can record on in essence. And then you could record. Can you do overdubs? Like, so you can record. Can you record multiple?
You can bounce like tracks onto other tracks to make more tracks, if you know what I mean. There was a certain way
you could merge like 2 tracks into one.
Yeah.
So you can do more than just
free
4.
up a track. Yeah. So you free up a track. I think the more you bounced them, the less the quality was. That kind of way, you know.
It deteriorates over time.
So we were guitar, bass, drums, vocal. That was about it.
Wow.
Maybe a throw a solo on over.
And what is the time? How do you? So what was the process? Did someone record like drums first, or
you could record like
all in one take?
You could do a live one, or you could do. It depends how many mics you have from each channel. You know what I mean? So you could do it live, or you could do drums, bass, guitar, lead, vocals, that kind of stuff. You know, old school stuff. Yeah. But that's what we used to do. But we used to play a lot of gigs as well. My first gig was in Behan's, the Blue Room. It was called. Now it's beside the Liffey. It's just, I'm trying to remember now where it was. It's on the south side of the Liffey, kind of far down near Fitzsimon's, Clarence Hotel kind of area. Down some lane. It didn't last too long, but I remember we did 2 gigs in there, and just the buzz of playing live was just unreal.
Amazing.
Bringing all your mates in, packed room, playing your own tunes. It was just amazing, and it was the biggest addiction of my life. It's just an addiction.
Wow.
It's a huge
and that got
buzz.
You going then.
Yeah, that's when I kicked off. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, because I think that's it. Like the next thing for me is trying to, because I'm releasing music next year, so I'm working with this kind of producer / marketer, but he's kind of suggesting like do a single release and then like obviously an album release gig, and I'm kind of a bit nervous in a way, like what would be the process for me? Imagine I don't have any connections, I've no network, right? What's the best way for me to try and to get a gig? Because obviously there's a financial incentive. I need to make sure there's like the finances of the venue is covered or whatever. Or I'm not really sure how it works.
You want to do a launch gig? Is that what you mean?
Imagine I was doing a launch gig for a single.
Well, if you're doing, in this day and age, if you're doing a launch gig, well, there's different ways to do it. If you're going into the city centre, I presume you might need to pay for the room rental.
Yeah.
So then, whatever that'll cost you.
So pay for the room.
Pay for the room rental. Then, if you're playing solo, you don't have to pay musicians or look for help in that way.
Yeah,
but, you know, they probably want payment for the sound man as well. So that's more money. But then you're trying to offset all that by charging tickets or charging entrance, that kind of way. And then you just do the maths and see what way it works out. But,
obviously, but then what about pub? Like let's say it was a pub. Because in my head, if you're gigging in a pub, you're on a particular night. Let's say depending on the night, it would be probably like the pub might say, oh, it's actually better for me to not do a gig on a Friday night because I make more money on a Friday night without putting tickets on the door.
It depends where you're playing, really.
Yes.
Like if you're playing in a venue that has music all the time, what I was talking about will work out. But if you're trying to play somewhere else, then it's just totally different, you know.
Yeah.
So like I can only hark back to when I released an album 13 years ago. I used to play in the Ivy House in Drumcondra a lot, and a year up to playing with them, I was recording the album sporadically in Malahide. When I got it done, then I said to them, could I launch my album here?
Yes.
So if I were you, I'd probably go down that avenue where you have a relationship with someone who's doing an open mic, and then you say, could I do a showcase night where I'm releasing a single or whatever? And then that way it's better. So when I did mine, I said to them, well, I charge it. And they said, our ethos is we don't charge in. So maybe if you just sell your album at the door, I charge a $5 or whatever it is for a CD. It was a CD then. And that's the way to do it. And they very kindly, there was no charge to the room, and they did the sound, and it was all good.
Okay.
And they knew it'd be packed because I was getting people and guaranteeing people. So
kind of need to just
I'd go that way if I were you.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way, because, you know, if you're going through wheelings or something like that, you do need to kind to pay for rooms and all that stuff. So, and it's a pressure to fill the room.
That's the thing. You put your name on the ticket, and
it's a pressure. Like,
I see. This is the thing. I think in Scaries, like, because I've never done a gig before, I think there's enough sort of goodwill in my direction from just, like, let's say local friend groups, and people that just have said a kind word here and there. So I think I could potentially get something going in Scaries. That would be my best bet, I think.
I think going local would be better.
Yeah.
Because Scaries to town is what, 45 minutes in the train or whatever?
My family, so my brother and sister will 100% come. And then I have at least like 5 to 10 friends that should definitely come. And then outside of that, there's more friends, but like, you know,
you just promote it
you
like
need
mad.
the definites, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You just have to go crazy promoting it. Like, now, again, when I was doing all that, there wasn't much social media. But now there's social media, you can pump it because everyone's on social media, you're getting lost in the mail, you know. So you'd be throwing up posters, flyers, social media, blah blah blah, and then just like the first one's grand. The first one you'll be fine, you'll feel. Yeah,
the first. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the second one. Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
Oh, yeah, the first one's easy.
The first one, like, because
the novelty of the first one's like, we're all going out to see Basil's gig. It's going to be cool.
Oh, we already did.
The second one you need to space out a good maybe 6 months later before you even think of it, because the second one is like, nah, we went last time we saw you.
That's the thing.
That's the problem. You say,
okay, well, that's interesting. Well, I'm just.
That's the thing.
To see my information, I can rob from you there.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, no. So you got started as in a band, which was really, what was called?
We were called Ubiquitous.
Ah, that seems like one of them cool, edgy kind of names.
Do you know what it means?
Like ubiquitous, as in it's very well known. It's ubiquitous.
Yeah, it's like something that's everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
Like God or something.
Or it's associated, like water is ubiquitously associated with survival. Let's say.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
What I mean?
So that was there was me and two mates, just guitar, bass, drums, and then the bass player left, and we
feels like Oasis or something, doesn't it?
Well, it's a terrible name because it's too complicated.
It's
you know
too
what I mean?
complicated, too
Too
hard to-
complicated.
yes.
You can't even spell it. Like,
I can't.
Is it IOUS or OUS and all this?
Who knows?
all
We'll
these
find,
debates?
someone Google it there and find out.
Yeah. But so that was the band, and then the bass player left. We got a new bass player, changed the name to Guilt Trip, which was a bit of a better name, all one word. And then the bass player left again, and we got another bass player. Then we did all that, and then. This was maybe, how long was that band? Maybe 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. We were chugging away, and then, did all the usual gigs in Temple Music Centre, Eamon Dorns, which is gone now, Slattery's, which is not a venue anymore. All the venues we used to play are gone now. But and then after a while, then someone wouldn't be available for a gig, so then I'd take the gig and do a solo gig, and that's when the seed was planted. Hang on a second,
I could do this on my own.
I can do this on my own. So
wow.
So I started playing solo gigs then. Then the band kind of filtered away and played solo gigs. And then after doing that, I was like, as we were talking about, I was kind of thinking, I don't know if it's still happening now, but back in the day, a lot of it was pay to play, where you got 20 tickets. And, this is back in the 90s, like, you paid to play. So you'd have to sell 20 tickets and you have to pay that to the promoter. And the rest then was profit that you'd keep. So as I said, the first gig, you'd sell your 20 tickets, no bother. You'd sell 10 more, you might sell a few more, whatever. And you get the profits. But the second gig then, you're struggling, you're begging people.
Yes.
And it's horrible when you're calling their mates and they
I need you to come.
I need your presence there. Like, you know what I mean? It's not for
really
you. I
do,
need bodies in there. I need paying people. So it's a horrible model. It was disgusting. I hope it's not still going on.
Have you had any like real painful gigs where it was like there was fuck all people there? Or?
Not in the pay to play days, because again, when you're younger, everyone goes out all the time. So no, those days are okay.
But you've been doing it for so long.
I mean, sick of that. Like,
you must have had like your best and your worst. You know what I mean?
Over the years, of course, it's getting you're playing to Man, this dog, and then you've other gigs you're playing to hundreds of people. And and it could be in the same weekend, like
that's
with the same set. It's just mad.
Yeah.
But that pay to play thing is horrible, and that's why when I started my own promotion and doing my own gigs, I would never ever charge bands or artists to play. I think it's ridiculous. The fact that a lot of the time they're not getting paid anyway, is awful. But you can't be charging people to do these things. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's tough, like, especially when you're trying to.
So
it's hard. There's like the avenues for musicians, because I'm like on the open mic scene, right? So I'm seeing, and you know yourself, the amount of extremely talented people, like Rua
Phenomenal.
at the last shout out to Rua. Oh my goodness,
they're amazing.
Aren't they just amazing?
Yeah,
the songs, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
You have I was at this Flow show last night, and beautiful people there, but there's this band, they're called Oceana Vibes, right? And they're like this cool jazz setup. The musicianship is outrageous. It's like I would just got to sit there for free. And these are amazing. They're so tight. Like, they come in with the bam, like everything is
and all their own tunes.
All their own stuff. It's all this. It's like real kind of it's like psychedelic jazz. It's real jazzy. But in a kind of cool way. And then they had Fiona O'Loughlin actually. Who's this kind of spoken word poet. They kind of do like a little duo thing where she does like spoken word over the jazzy stuff.
Is she in the band?
No, it's like a collaboration.
Okay.
But you're seeing all this, you're like, oh man, how Oceana Vibes, right? I was like looking at their Bandcamp. I was like, by the time this airs, I gotta buy or whatever it is, because I'm just like, how can I support these people in some way, you know? And just it's like they're only selling that, but I'm like, they're like, there's this, have you ever heard of this thing called like 1,000 True Fans? So there's this article from this guy called Kevin Kelly, and he basically outlines like, if you had 1,000 people that really liked what you did, you could make that financially viable. Like, and you don't have to. It's not like you have to sell the 3 Arena. But if you haven't, like, he said, the number is like 1,000. That's like just like it's not picked out of her hat, but he kind of explains it. You know, if you get them to spend X amount every year or whatever. But I've become one of there. So like they just need 999 more.
They're converted.
Because I'd be willing. I'm just like, these are so brilliant, and I want to see them. Succeed in a way, but it is hard when you're getting started, I imagine, you're trying to kind of get a name for yourself, and then you have to start paying for venues and music, and it's actually so hard.
Well, there's so many, like, there's different ways. Like, if you're playing originals, it's fair. I just admire people playing originals. Like, I did it for 12, 15 years, chugging away. Did an album about 12 years ago, the whole shebang, just pushed as hard as I could go. And after that amount of time, then I kind of said to myself, oh, look, it's only so far you can go, and it's only so hard you can try until you kind of go,
I know,
I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. And
giving this a bash.
When your family comes along and you get married and you have kids and all that stuff, then it's like what I used to do, if I had a week off work, say, I'd say to my girlfriend, fiance, wife, right, I'm going to book a load of gigs now. Say I have a week off on Halloween. I'm going to book Monday night this open mic, Tuesday this open mic, Wednesday here, and I tie them all together. And I used to do a load of gigs with Aslan as well, or I did a few with Monday and a few lads over the years. So I'd kind of go, right, I'm playing with Aslan on the 30th of October. That's the Friday night, and I'm off that week. So I would tie in all these other gigs leading up to it. So I'd be like yourself, contacted open mics and stuff. And before I know it, then I'd have a 5-gig week. So I'd put posts up everywhere and going, Halloween tour. That's what I call it, Halloween tour. And it would say, the International Monday night, the Ivy Sessions Tuesday night, Zodiac Sessions Wednesday night. Where else did I play?
Oh my goodness.
Somewhere else Thursday night. And then Friday night, Aslan support gig and yada, yada, yada. And being a lovely string of gigs. And it looked great. And even though I wasn't going around the van, it was a little mini Halloween tour.
That's
what I
mean?
So that's what I used to do. And
that's so interesting. That's actually a great idea.
But when the kids come along and all that kind of stuff, you can't say to your wife then, look, I'm going out 5 nights this week and there's nothing coming home. There's no bread. There's no bread coming home for these ones. You can't do that to her. Do you know what I mean? No. My wife's phenomenal, and the stuff I do is only because I can, because she's so laid back and supportive of me. You know what I mean? But when kids start coming along, then I started going, right, I've been doing this long enough. I have the experience long enough. What if I buy a PA? And what if I just start playing cover gigs? Because I always loved doing covers in the set.
Yes.
Probably too much. I love playing my own stuff, but I don't know why, but maybe the reaction was better.
We're all getting in on it. Like,
it's probably that,
thing. Even covers allowed, because everyone knows the cover. Like when people play a cover at an open mic, it's great when everyone can sing along. And I'm like, thanks for playing that, actually, because it was something, it made us all get into it.
Yeah, and that little feeling is very addictive.
Yes.
That buzz you get, that reaction, that energy you get off the crowd. So then I kind of said, shall I give this a lash? And then I got a 2-hour set together of covers, picked from ones I'd play and then learning more. And then I bought a PA, and then I added to the PA and got more bits and more bits. And then I started getting paid gigs around. And then that was, when did I start doing that? Maybe 13 years ago or something.
Wow. So that's where you've made the music financially viable.
Well, that's where I can say to my wife, okay, I'm out every Saturday for the next 6 months.
But I'm making it.
But I'm bringing something back.
Yes.
So she goes, yeah, you're working. Grand, you're working. So, but it also means, like, a lot of friends I know who are creative, let's say, would have given up those hobbies because they're like, oh, married now. She's not happy. She's not happy. And I'd be saying to them, what are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing, man? This is your life force. This is your energy. This is your passion.
Yes.
You can't give it up. And some of them just did. So I was like, well, I can't give this up.
Do that.
But I can't justify going out for a 3-song set in town and being out half the night and driving home and all this, So I kind of said, I need to make this professional. I need to be professional at this.
Wow.
And that's how I've kept it going. And now, thankfully, it's all good,
The thing is, right, you gave it a good bash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You know what I mean? You didn't like sit in the sidelines and say like, oh, what, like I could have done this, could have done that. It sounds like you gave it a really good bash, and you had good ideas, like with the touring and the flyers
all
and
those
all.
Things. Yeah,
that's what it's about. I'm in that stage now. I'm like, I'm gonna give this a good bash.
Yeah, go for it.
That's what it's about. That's the exhilarating thing, like the process of doing it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to ever lose music in your life. So you had to make compromises for your family, which I'm sure, like, now that you're children, you'd probably never change anything because in your life, because you would have, if you changed one thing, you would have never had your child. Imagine that. And I like, so it's really, I actually see, not that I have children, but I know that, right, let's say if I ever did have children, everything in my life before I had that child would be justified, because I'd say, well, imagine I didn't do all this stuff. Then this being wouldn't be in the world. So it actually makes it like there's no real regrets in a way.
Or would you believe like that if you change any bit of your past, the present
I think that
doesn't happen?
Everything is so complicated. As in, let's say if you came here at a different day, it's going to impact. You don't know what kind of impact that has on your life. Like if I sit down to write a song, if we sat down to do this podcast, now it's a different podcast because it happened now. Our conversation's different, like everything's different, the energy's different. It'd be different on a different day. It'd be different if we did it in the morning, like now it's in the evening. And we don't know, like stuff that I say to you now and stuff that you say to me can change so many little things that like the further you go back, if you go 5 years back and you change one little thing, who knows how different it could be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for all the things to line up for you to have that particular child, because it actually gets more complicated because obviously there's the sperm and the egg, and that increases the likelihood of that child being born
1 billion to 1 or something.
It'll never happen unless every fucking little thing happened the exact way. You know what I mean? You have to have
gas, isn't it?
It's just crazy. So when you think about it like that, and even it's funny because I think of my ex, actually. I shout out to Amy because she just had a child, and I'm just like, well, even if she really regretted like being with me, now that she has that baby, it's like, well, at least like she can't really she won't really regret it because then she'll be like, well, this is how I rationalize it in my head.
Okay.
But
no,
but you know what I mean. So basically, you gave it a
a
good bash, man, and that's what life's about. You know what I mean? But you didn't give up then, as in.
Now it all added to what I do now because it gave me. I'm vague about the years now. Let's say I don't know, 10 years or whatever of playing originals gave me the experience of playing live, and when I did it, like in those weeks where I did 5 nights, say, you know, you get very comfortable very quickly playing, and you get that experience that you would never get unless you do it and get out and do it. Like I was listening to other podcasts and talking about just doing it.
Yes,
that's what it's not about waiting. It's not about. It's about. And you were talking about busking as well. That's exactly the thing to do. There's no point practicing in your bedroom because it's totally different when there's people staring at you.
Yes,
and also it's totally different when you've got equipment. And then it's totally different when you've got lights. And then it's totally different when you're in a different room with a different sound man who's using different equipment and different lights. It's all just different. And you have to desensitize yourself to all these experiences. Because then you have to be comfortable doing it. Yes. Do you know what I mean? It's like someone saying to me, oh my God, I'm doing a keynote speech in front of 500 people in the RDS tomorrow. But if I said to them, you're actually not, you're doing it 5 nights this week. Immediately they'll relax. They'll go, well, it's not a one-off. I'm going to do it every night. Obviously, the first one, they'll be bricking themselves. Yeah. But if they know they're doing it every night, they go, well, this is going to be normal. So you have to normalize those experiences. So that's what I say to sometimes musicians. Well, what do you think? What do I do? And I say, just keep playing. Yes. Just keep playing. And, don't wait till you've got a good guitar. Don't wait till you have more songs. You know, don't wait till you have 3 songs. Ask them, can you jump up and do 1 song and open mic, whatever. And all that, it's just stepping stones to become.
You don't wait. Like, that's so
normal.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's such a good way. You formalize it in such a really great way there because the more, like, if you don't ever start the thing, then you never start moving towards, like, you never get on the path. So you're always waiting and waiting. Like, no, everyone you see that's, let's say, even confident on the 3 Arena, like, they've done all the little gigs, you know what I mean? They've done all the stuff that's got them to that point where they're super comfortable, and it's all about repetition, and it's all about just participating in this thing that we call life, and not sitting on the sidelines, because it is, like, I try push myself out there, but even, like, even in my life, I can see, like, maybe I was a bit slow to the open mics. I was a bit, that's a bit scary to me for a long time. Then I was like, no, I just got to do it because the busking's kind of safer in a way. But at least with the busking, you'd kind of take it into your own hands.
Yeah, busking's great because your audience isn't static. They're not staring, eyeballing you. Do you know what I mean? They're moving, and all you need is probably 3 songs you keep doing. You don't need a big long set. You do 1 song and they're gone. So they're the next people. But obviously you want to mix it up. But
you can move around as well. That's the other thing. Yeah,
busking's great because you're getting over the fear of projecting your voice, practicing playing to the public, and you've done that now, and
Yeah.
you're comfortable with the whole thing, and then you can get more songs, and then you can start. Well, there's no order. You mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I
There's
did a
no
lot
order.
more gigs than busking. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting,
But
yeah.
everyone's into different stuff.
We used
But
to do whatever you could do.
played
at the
everywhere.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's beautiful just to hear from your mouth that it's just it's just a great message. Like, just get started. Don't wait.
Life's too
the
short.
time
Man.
is
It's
now.
too short. Like,
Yeah.
you might break your leg tomorrow and you're stuck at home for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Or anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
Life's just way too short. You just got to do it now.
Yes.
Quick, hurry up.
Hurry up.
Hurry up, yeah.
But yeah, like even
You know?
like even the podcast, everything that you see me kind of doing, and if you say that I've earned it, I'm confident, or I'm this, or I'm that. Like, there was a time where I wasn't any of them things. You know what I mean? And the person you see now, like, it's literally taken years, and the person you are, like, it takes years of development, years of trial and error, and then you get to a point where you're like, Jesus, it's so weird to even be here now, looking back, and I'm so different in a way.
We're always changing. But as you said, trial and error, that's the one. That's the best lesson, because, as I said, if you're sitting in your bedroom practicing, you'll get to the level of being brilliant in your bedroom, but it won't matter a thing if you get stage fright, or if your guitar string breaks in front of people, or if the sound goes, or if anything happens. You know what I mean? If you start losing your voice, like, all these things will happen.
Yes.
You know, I was in a band for a few years now. It's kind of burned out now, but I learned so much. It was a 5-piece band, and I learned more by playing gigs with them, not musically but technically, like sound wise, because I had to set up the gear, so I kind of had to buy more gear, kind of for that reason. I had to buy more lights and more speakers and that kind of stuff, and then learn kind of myself how I've no qualifications in sound or anything like that. I did learn myself, but I learned so much by gigging with them and feedback. And oh my god, what's feedback? Is the violin? Is the violin the keyboard? My vocal mic, your vocal mic, the bass amp or the guitar mic, or the drums?
Yes.
The kick drum mic. It's stressful. Do you
Of
know what I mean?
course.
You're never going to do that in your bedroom. Do you know what I mean?
know.
So I remember we used to play a lot in the Oasis bar in Portmarnock, where I was myself last weekend. It was great to be back there. But I remember there was some musos in the audience who were very friendly, but they kind of have good constructive criticism, you know?
Yes.
And I used, the Bose pillar I had at the show
Yeah.
sessions. So that's the selling point of that, is you can put it behind you, so you don't need a monitor. So you put it behind you and you can hear yourself, and the crowd can hear you. But that's not the truth, because you're trying to crank it a lot of places. So once you crank it and you move away from the mic, woo! So if your head's in the way, you're grand. But if you move and the speaker sees the mic, then it'll feedback mad. So there was months of this going on, where I literally had to say, it was me singing, another singer, I had to say to her, don't move your head.
Don't move your head
See that
even
speaker?
a little bit.
Just don't move, or there'll be feedback. Like, and things like that. But then that's when you start investing in monitors in front and another speaker on the other side, and then soloing. How am I going to solo an acoustic guitar? Sure, I will. I'm not going to bring electrical, solo an acoustic guitar. And then you're talking to these lads in the audience. They're like, oh, get this pedal and get that pedal and try this and try that. And then if you get a pedal for an acoustic guitar, you need a sound hole cover.
Oh yeah.
Which I learned as well from a gig where the thing went for ages. You know what I mean? So, but I wouldn't learn any of that unless it was on the job, trial and error, on the job.
And you would have taught, like, see, all the stuff that you don't. This is so interesting that you say it like this, because let's say you're like, oh, I'd love to start gigging, but I need X, Y, and Z. You actually don't know what you don't need. You only find out what you don't need when you're actually doing the thing. You might you might think, oh, I don't have all this stuff. There's way more that you don't have, actually. Like, there's a lot you don't have, and you won't find out until you throw yourself at it. And it's so you've iterated on this over so long, and it's brilliant to see, actually. Your setup, so just going back, I did the show off sessions for the first time. The last time it was on, I think it was a few weeks ago, and I've done a few open mics around the place in town. A lot of them are kind of just like using PA systems that in-house PA, whatever they can get their hands on. You know what I mean? A lot of these people are just running them like just to be good people, just to have the music
Fair
there.
person,
And some of them don't, like. There's people that don't have a clue. There's people that do have a clue. Shout out to Andy, who's the fucking best sound man. He does like two of them. He does Flow Show. He does Smithfield. He pops up everywhere, and he's always just on hand, on deck. He has to pay attention to everyone because he'll put in reverb and he's like live interaction. Like he does get a lot of credit. I'm not going to say he doesn't get enough credit, but so he's doing the best at what he got in a way. And then I came to yours, and I was like, oh my god, the sound. First of all, you have all these. I don't know what it is. Like what is your setup actually? How would you what are the pieces of gear
for the show session?
For the whole every piece,
everything I have,
every fucking thing.
Okay, where do we start? So, okay, let me get my head together for this one. So I've a Bose F1 812 speaker. That's probably my newest one, which is about that high, and it's what wattage is it? Oh, it's something mad I don't know what it's either 500 or 1,000, but it's plenty. Plenty. It's fairly state of the art. You can flip back the top in case you're playing a gig like if you're in a cottage like a lecture hall. If you're going up, so if you tilt the top, it goes up. If you're playing on a stage down to people, you can tilt the bottom so it points down. And if you're playing straight, it can be totally flat. So that's on a stand. Just say on one side. Then on the other side, I'll have the Bose Pillar, which I've had for years. That's a brilliant little kit with a subwoofer beside it, and that's an amazing kit. It's a beautiful thing. It comes halves in two, and you put it in a bag, and it's very easy to move. Then I'd have a Bose digital 4-track mixer, which was the original one I got. And then when I joined the band and I needed loads more channels, then I got the 8-track one. Okay. And now I use both, because if I'm playing a small gig where I don't need a monitor, I'll use the 4-track one, like I'm playing the Man of War this Saturday. That'll do for that. And the reverbs
all
are better. All the
instruments go to your mixer.
Yeah, so other mixers, you plug everything in, you have to kind of dial in everything yourself. Whereas this thing, you literally put it in and you put whatever your code on that mic is, you'll select that. It has presets.
Like presets for
so you pick your SM58 and you just click on that and it'll put it at the exact sound
lovely.
for that. Or you put in your Shure and it'll go, yeah, there's your preset for Shure, and it'll give you to optimize your sound for that.
Brilliant.
I'll put in my guitar, Takamine, pick that.
About all,
because I'm not tech savvy. I'm not good at maths generally, and I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But I'm good at my own kit. I know how to work my own gear.
You know what I mean? That does all the compression. For whatever.
Yeah.
It covers all the basic. You don't want to get nitty gritty. But
so they're the two mixers, and then obviously mic stands, and then mics. I've Audix mics, but I recently invested in a Shure Super Deluxe, Shure 58 Super Deluxe. Is that what the name of it? It's an Elvis mic, you know. There's Elvis.
Oh yeah, they're brilliant.
I got one of them this summer. I think it's called a Shure 58.
It's definitely Shure.
Shure Super.
I was looking at getting it.
Shure Super 58 Deluxe, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm madly in love with that. That's beautiful. What else do I have?
That's more for show, isn't it? Really?
Well, it's a Shure mic in a case.
It's a casing.
Yeah. But
the 58 to 57 and that, I think, have the same sort of innards.
I think so. Yeah. I think
even this apparently.
What is that?
This is the SM7B. SM7B, I think it is.
For broadcasting kind of thing, is it?
Yeah. Michael Jackson used it on the Thriller album, actually.
Wow.
It's and like obviously I see it in all the podcasts and stuff, but it's all about it's the mount, and it's the kind of the outer casing that kind of makes it different than the other mics. Apparently they kind of use the same thing, but that changes a lot about the mic.
Yeah.
So then you have your microphones. You also have what I like is when you're recording people, you have a little actual tripod.
It's just a mic with a
the
phone holder
attachment. Oh yes.
It's just a mic stand, and I just have a holder for a phone. That's all I have, because I used to hold it, but I don't have the most stable hands. So I especially when you're stressed out doing a show and who's next, and you're hosting this and you're doing the sound and you're trying to record them, not the best time to stable your hands. So I have this thing, and I use that then for my own gigs, just to get some footage for social media and all that stuff. But I got that online. It was cheap as chips.
That's another part of it. That's just like
it's a very
you're like
good
me.
part.
I look at things, and when I start doing the thing, I'm like, how can I make my job easier? Because I used to have the other microphone than that one, but it's like if I get the same mics, the mixing of it and everything, I don't have to move. And then I got invested in these mic stands as well, because I hate having flimsy mic stands. you learn, but you invest, and then you iterate, and then your job. Joe, it's like you're just like, my job. It's a little bit easier now in a way.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to hold my phone when I'm recording.
Exactly.
And it adds more when there's that's the stability as well to the shots. I noticed, and then so your setup is brilliant, and then like you had like then
and the monitor. You're a big fan of
the monitor, because
which isn't a great monitor, but it's just that monitor.
It's a monitor, so.
Are the other open mics don't have monitors? Like I got the vibe you hadn't
they just have
experienced one like before.
No, I haven't experienced. No, I've never actually experienced a monitor.
Really?
Not like that. Not where it was actually pointing towards me. It's just whatever the speakers are in the room. Sometimes you can hear yourself, and you go, I'm sounding all right, and then sometimes you're like, I hope I sound all right.
Yeah, no, with the band we got that because, as I said, we moved the Bose pillar from behind to the left side and got the other big one on the right side, and that pushed everything out. And then we got a monitor just to hear ourselves.
So the monitor is basically just a speaker facing the person singing, so they can hear themselves basically singing. Which like it makes you just really, because when you can hear yourself, your voice is like an instrument. So when you're going in a particular direction, you being able to hear it allows you to maneuver it in a way.
It's vital to be able to hear yourself.
Yeah,
there's a difference between a good gig and a bad gig. If you cannot hear yourself, especially me, I need to hear myself. Other people are look. I'm not a natural singer. Put a lot of work into it. And still, I'm not where I want to be. But
that helps big time.
It's just if you can hear yourself, you can just obviously sing and tune better. If you can't hear yourself, you're driving without headlights, basically. That's what it is.
Yeah. So and then so I could hear myself. I was like, ooh, it felt real nice.
I must say it was the funniest moment I ever had at the show sessions. I'm serious, because like we've comedians on and they're very good and stuff. But I was laughing for ages because you started. I'll never forget it. You started singing. And about 10 seconds in, you just said like, "Oh my God," you just kind of stopped saying, "Oh my God, the sound here, this thing is amazing." Super enthusiastic. It was so funny, it was gas. But it was just so much joy and happiness you were going. I got the buzz you were, because it's great when you have good sound. And you hear yourself and you can hear yourself clearly. You start going, "I'm amazing." Which is a massive boost. It's a massive buzz. And you got that buzz there right in front of me, which gave me a buzz. And then I was brilliant. It was great. So thanks for that. It was brilliant. It was great.
But it go like when you put the time in, you're able to create these experiences for people as well. So it's like that's another knock-on effect of what you did in a way, or what you do. And the investment kind of pays off in dividends. So I mean, because you might say, equipment costs this, costs that. Like you might say these mics, whatever, all the equipment, but like you create moments.
It's an investment.
It's an investment in your stuff and in your craft. And but then I really liked. So when you were hosting it, I thought you were a really good host as well, because one thing I liked that you did, because you introduced the people obviously, and then. When everyone's finished, you'll be like, "Give it up for blah blah." They'll finish. You put on a little bit of music, and then when you come back, you'll say, "Give it up again." For whoever it was. And I just thought, that's real clever, actually. You know what I mean? Because it looked like you just like you've honed in on what it takes. Like, what's the best way of doing it? Like what? Like I saying, like for especially for the artists like us. The repetition of the name like really helps like to solidify, and like it's like marketing. Like the more you like that name shows up, the better. I found.
Well, when I started it, I had done so many over the years that I kind of said, right, what don't I want and what do I want to know? I always had in the back of my mind, I'd love to run an open mic. So when I did it, then I made a list of things I wanted. And a lot of my open mics I played, you weren't introduced. It was just like, jump up there and play a few tunes. So you just go up and you kind of have to introduce yourself, kind of thing, which is fine. But it's nice to be introduced, I think. I think it's polite to introduce someone who's going to make the effort to come out. Like, if someone's going to come out on a Sunday night to Donabate to play at the show sessions, they're going to get a train or a bus or a taxi or drive. They're going to make some time. They might need a babysitter. They mightn't. It's a lot of work. The petrol, the whole shebang. Then they're trying to walk into this strange bar they've never been in, which has 4 bars, and they're trying to find the one I'm in.
Yes.
And I've told them, but it's hard to, and I remember the time, I just remember walking in yourself. A lot of times they bring a crowd, hopefully sometimes they don't. They're nervous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to make them feel welcome, you do your best. At least you could do is introduce them, plug, like I give a sheet, I have a show session sheet, say, and it would have name, genre, where you're from, and websites. So I have all that ready, so I can plug, and
I noticed that you just a sign up sheet, and then like you put your website or Instagram, whatever
exactly.
it is.
So I can plug. So people might, like yourself, I mean, you were fans of some of those, and you can check them out and see where they're playing, or like their video, or follow their page. All that stuff adds up, It's all nice to do,
100%.
So
but yeah, no, most of the open mics I go to anyway, they do actually give you a good introduction.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's like
that's good to hear.
And then it's good with social media as well, because you just tag people in posts, whatever. I like your post. Like the lighting isn't yours, is it? I noticed
the light's mine. Yeah.
Is it? No way. Because in the
flashing lights.
There's like in the last few videos I've seen you post for mine, there was real nice colours. I thought. Like
the show sessions.
The shot was good. I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've lights as well.
Okay,
I've lights. Sorry, I forgot about those.
The lights.
I have lights. I have 2 sets of lights as well.
That's amazing.
Again, I got those for the band because when you're in a band, you're playing bigger kind of gigs. So you need lights. So lights either side. So we have lights. I have lights. And then I started doing DJing gigs because I had the lights. Because I started saying, hang on a second. I have a massive, really good PA. I have lights. I have a laptop I can play music through, so I started doing a few DJing gigs as well, which was handy, to do as well.
Because you bought all this equipment.
Because you have all your like anything.
A walking like gig machine.
Well, that's what I recommend anyone to do. Like, you don't want to be relying on other people.
PA systems.
That's what I've learned over the years as well. I'm fairly independent. I don't like to have to. I don't have to. I don't want to be able to. I don't have to rely on people.
Yes,
I will rely on people, and I will work with them, no problem.
Yeah.
But sometimes
the idea of it is
like
if you can help it, you'll if you can take something into your own hands, you will.
Yeah. So when you have that, then you can do that. And so then, I've done 1 or 2. Like, I'm in a local club in Donabate, and over the years they were like doing fundraisers, and I said, sure, I'll do a table quiz. I'll do a table quiz for you, fundraise. No problem, I'll help you. So set up the gear and just have your table quiz, and off you go.
Microphone,
helping people. And then, what else did we do? Yeah, so once you have a PA, it opens the door to everything. You can set up an open mic, you can play your own gigs, you can do DJing, you can do this, everything. You can do that, you can do public address announcements. Yeah. Now, obviously,
you could set it up in your garden.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's
over time.
It's worth it.
But you could do it like, let's say there's probably a minimal. What's the minimal amount, as in not money, but equipment that you would be like?
You just need 2 speakers and a mixer.
Yeah, 2 speakers
and a mic stand.
And a mic stand
by 2 or 3, depending.
Actually, let's say
one mic stand, mixer, 2 speakers. That's it.
Okay, yeah, because you need. Why would you need 2 speakers and not 1?
Well, you want one on either side.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're doing in a big room. In a smaller room, that Bose pillar did me for years just on its own.
Yeah.
Like you crank that up and it's grand. Like.
Yeah. Well, it's just because I was looking at that and I thought, and you get loads of gigs and stuff, and then that's when you said to me, oh yeah, I have all this is all mine, so it makes sense then, because you can go places then that don't have their own PA systems, which a lot of people actually don't, do they?
90% of my gigs are no PA system. I bring my own. 90%. Yeah. Like if I play a gig where there's a PA, it's like winning the lotto. It's just like oh my god, I don't have to lift anything. I don't have to do sound. This is amazing. It's just such a treat. Like, but generally, I play bars and pubs and clubs, so I'll bring my gear, that kind of thing, And I always feel a bit insecure if I'm going through someone else's, because it's like a control thing,
Yes.
You just don't know. You don't know what the story is.
Yes.
Like. But in fairness, a lot of nightclubs now have played. I played Drogheda. What's it called?
I don't know. It's Fusion or something up there.
Anyway, I played one in the summer. It was a late gig. Now it was half 12 start till 2:30 in the morning, right?
Oh my god!
No, I did it, and it was grand. I did it was fine, but I was plugging into the house PA, so I set up my own PA and I plug into the house PA, which is brilliant because it comes alive through every speaker in the nightclub. And then Paddy's Day, I played down in Athlone in the piano bar in Athlone. I think that's the name, but again, I plugged into the PA, which I hadn't done before.
Yeah,
but it was cool because you have your own setup with your PA and you can hear stuff, but then it comes out through every speaker everywhere, which is kind of weird because it's like people down the corner can't see who can really hear me under their heads.
Interesting. Weird. It's trippy.
It's a bit weird, but you just get over and get on and do it.
Yeah. And then, so how long does it take to get set up in one of these places?
Yeah, it would probably take. It probably takes a half an hour if I'm in a place I know. But like you lose 15 minutes, 20 minutes trying to get in the right door,
Yeah.
trying to move the people who are in the way of where you're setting up. So I always be there an hour before strictly.
Yes.
And if I'm ready half an hour before and I've time to tinker or chill out, then great. But generally I'd be there an hour beforehand, because it just like, but if you're starting at 10, you land there at 9. So you might land there at 9, and then you might, if you haven't been there before, you're going, where am I playing? You're walking into the bar, where am I playing? No, you're not playing here, you're going there. Okay, you're going to the next bar. Like I played in the Talca House a few weeks ago, and which is a great bar, by the way, but I was sent into a sidebar, say, he goes, you're setting up here, Grant, brought me speaker and da 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 da. And then 10 minutes later, someone said, no, the band are here, you're next door. You're the solo act, you're next door, the band are here. So I was like, oh, right, so I had to lift all the gear, Grant. Next time, 15 minutes doing it, so I haven't even set up yet.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm going, I'm up here, Grant. I need to move these tables now. Okay, move this table. Next minute, 20 minutes is gone, half an hour is gone. And you're like, under pressure, that kind of stuff, you know? So I always give it an hour just in case. But if I'm in a place I play a lot and I know what door I'm going in or what lift I'm going in or whatever, and I know what space I'm in, you can just fly in. But there's always something. There's always something that delays you. Like, and the worst thing is when you go up and you're in the corner and you're in that corner, you're like, yeah, but there's 15 people there with 97 points in front of them. Can you move them, or will I, you know, when you're waiting, or just let them finish up there, and you're like, yeah, I thought you wanted me to start at 10, and it'll be grand in there.
It's this whole
can be messy. So an hour.
Yeah,
an hour.
Because I thought, because just the amount of stuff you have, an hour seems like, I was like, oh, at least an hour.
Now, for the show sessions, when I'm bringing most of the gear, it's an hour and a half.
Oh,
like I'd be there 5 o'clock for a 6:30 start.
Oh my goodness!
Because I don't, and as well, I want to be ready, because people start coming at 6, say, or acts coming in at 6, and they're talking to me.
Yeah.
And I love talking to people.
I know, that's the thing.
I can't talk to people when I'm trying to set up. I'm like, I don't mean to be rude, but I need to have 10 minutes to get this right, so I can't really talk to you, you know?
Oh, man.
So you need to be
That's another element.
Yeah, so you need to, I kind of want to be done by 6, 6:15 at the latest, so then when people come in, I can be polite, as I said, and be welcome and say, thanks for coming, and, you know, this is the crack, this is the story. Have a seat, grab a drink, that kind of thing, you know? So just want to do it right and be professional, you know?
Oh, 100%. And, yeah, like it's great. The setup I was seeing, like, and the host, and I thought it was brilliant. And I thought, yeah, I just like, so how did you even get started with the show sessions?
So I think I was trying
show off sessions.
As you know, Facebook's gone a bit mad lately. I don't know if you've noticed it, but you can't scroll back as far, and you can't see your videos along the top. And I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's gone a bit.
I'm more of an Instagram kind of guy now.
Yeah, I only joined Instagram January. But,
Oh, you need to get into that.
But show sessions is bigger. It's like 1,000 followers, whatever. On Facebook, it's not as much on Instagram because it's only swapped over. So I was trying to look back, and of course it wouldn't let me. But anyway, long story short, about 2017. I got a jolt of energy, like you have. Whatever it comes from. It's gone. It's left me at the moment. I need it. I don't think I'll get it back before Christmas, but you know, you need to get that creative energy, and you just go, let's go. So I'd always wanted to get an open mic going. So, and because, as I probably said to you, in North County Dublin, there's not unless you go into the city centre. There's nothing. A city centre is hard for people living out in North County Dublin because it's far away, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or other parts of the south side of Dublin or whatever. So I said, right, I'm going to start one. So I went down to a bar called Smith's in Donabate, and I asked them, can I run an open mic? And they said, yeah, go on. And I said, I'm going to do it every Sunday over the summer. July, August, every Sunday. So as we were talking about, I had a few bits of equipment. I hadn't done it before. And I said, the best way to learn it is to do it, to experience it. So I put it on every Sunday for 8 weeks, and it was brilliant. And the first week I probably got 3 acts on. I was dying for acts. I didn't know any local acts, so got 3 acts on. Didn't have background music, didn't have lights. Just was grand. It was fine. But after 8 weeks, I had it fairly down tap, you know. So I did that for about, I think it was a year and a half we did there.
Wow.
And then we moved on from there. They wanted to change the room into a pool room. So that was the room gone. So I said, okay, fair enough, grand. So then went to Keeling's where you were and did about a year-ish there. Then the pandemic hit. Then we took, maybe a year and a half off. I can't remember. Then cranked it up again. And then wrapped that one up last 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Whatever that was. So on and off for 5 years.
Wow, that's
2017
crazy.
to now, yeah. So moving around twice, and now looking for a
So
new
no wonder
home.
looking at all your setup and the hosting and everything. That's like you've like a PhD in open mics.
Well, I've just been doing it for a while, but
Yeah, that's what I mean,
really
yeah.
enjoy it. Like, it's great. It's hugely rewarding.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm playing my own gigs, so I'm doing my own thing, and I think a lot of people set up open mics to play gigs. I know the people who used to run the Ivy sessions in Drumcondra, which I was probably most inspired by. There was 3 of them used to do it, but I remember talking to them and they said, "Oh, we just wanted to play more gigs. And we couldn't get them, so we said, sure, we'll do
an open mic.
We'll do our own gig."
Yeah.
So we set up our own gig, and I'd play and then get people on. But my motivation was never that. Like in the videos I make and the highlight videos and online, I'm not in them.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
didn't perform. Like.
It's not my ego trip. It's
Yeah.
like I just want to put the acts on the
Showcase
stage,
that.
showcase them. Now I'm very present there when I'm there and introduce them, but I don't video myself or show myself introduce them. It's just them and their bits and stuff. But like, it's great to have people over, give them a stage and let them shine.
Yes.
And it's just such a
And
pleasure.
you've probably seen people like all sorts
Hundreds.
of people come in.
Like when we've had people from all over. We've had people from India, Brazil, Norway, Britain, Scotland, Spain. Like loads of countries, you know, they contact you and it's such an honour. They go, "Oh, we're doing a tour through Dublin or Ireland. Can we jump in?" Or, you know, that kind of thing. Or my friend is travelling through, or any of that. Like we've had,
That's brilliant.
You know, we've had established acts, we've had
Yeah.
beginners, we've had everyone. But again, spoken word, poetry, comedy, musicians, bands, solos, blah blah blah.
Brilliant idea. I didn't realise it was going on for so long.
Yeah.
And I just got a little. It's funny because the last one I did was kind of the last one in its current form at Keelan's in a way.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see where it goes from here in a way. Like, what's your hope for it?
Yeah, I'm just going to get a new venue in the new year.
Yeah.
And when I originally started, it was the Smith sessions.
Yes.
Because it was in Smith's pub, and I would naively thought it would last forever. You know. And then when that ended, I needed a new home. I said, "Well, I can't call it the Smith sessions in another bar." So I had to recommend what'll I call it. And fairly quickly, I said, "Well, gives a chance of people to show off their talent, to show off sessions, SSS, perfect."
Yeah.
And now that I have the brand, I can go anywhere. It's not relying on a
Exactly.
venue.
It's not relying on a venue.
So we chatted about scaries and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, obviously you're in Donabate. You're in Donabate, aren't you? So you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if you're moving that gear, if you're bringing it down to scaries, that adds another, you know, how many minutes on, like, but wherever, if there's anyone there, but obviously the closer I think the better. You know what I mean? For
obviously
you.
the closer, yeah, because I mean, I might a lot of times be playing the Saturday night, so you'd be fairly wrecked anyway setting up, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't have to travel too far.
Yeah.
You know. Plus you try to.
But it's scary if there's somewhere with a PA system, maybe.
Yeah, definitely, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely, maybe.
Definitely, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll,
feels like a ubiquitous song.
Put the feelers out in January and see what happens, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's funny that because towards the end of the year, you're just like, next year's problems, isn't it? It's weird how you kind of you just got you push things like because you know December is just going to be crazy, especially.
Yeah, December is not a time to start shopping it around. Like, you know, it's too busy, and I'm too busy, so it's fine. So once Christmas is over and it's quiet in January, then we'll
so
see what happens,
just
you know?
just on Christmas, because I know you're a family man, like, and like how did having kids sort of change, like, I suppose, your life, like, what's the kind of lessons that you can impart on me, like, after becoming
just generally,
just in general, like, but do you have anything on
like,
top of your head, like?
Well, I've 3.
You've 3.
I've 3, yeah, ranging from 3.5 to 11. So we have a good spread.
Okay,
do you know what I mean? We have a good spread. So you're kind of still dealing with the tail end of nappies and suitors at one end, and then you're dealing at pre-teen at the other end.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we have a good spread, but yeah, I mean, I love my kids just with all my heart and soul, and my wife, they're just amazing.
Yes.
But it's a lot of work.
It's like,
you know?
in the pie of your life, like, they take like 2/3, whatever.
It's kind of like, it's just like I love your energy. When I met you, and even when we hooked up online before I met you, I just got the vibe, and I love people with energy. I love it. And you were talking about other podcasts being an extrovert. I'd be the same.
Yeah.
We were talking about, you were talking about when you're with people, you gain energy. Well, I'm the same. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes at home I'd be getting lonely. My wife would be like, oh, you know, or I'd be tired, and she'd say, oh, you know, no, if she was tired or something, or if she was in need of social interaction, I'd say, oh, I should go with her, and she'd be kind of, she called herself a confident introvert. She's very confident, and but she is probably introvert because when she is with a group of people, she'll get tired.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Yeah,
that's actually how you know.
Whereas before, I wouldn't have called her an introvert, but in that way, she is.
Yeah.
Whereas she'd say, "God, you're gas." Like I dread going out with a group of people if I'm tired because I'll just be drained. Whereas I'd be like, I'm going out to get that energy.
Yes.
Like when
that's so interesting. Yeah.
You were saying on one of the other podcasts.
It resonated with you a bit.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing, but you do gain energy from people.
Forget
your question. What was
your question? No, but I know what you're saying. Like, just on the extrovert.
Kids, yes, kids.
Yeah.
So I kind of go through phases in a year where I'll get very energetic and creative, like you probably do.
Yeah.
And then, but afterwards, there might be a hangover where you're tired and you lose it a bit, but it'll come back, and you know it'll come back. But when you have kids, the energy is going to them. That's what it is, and it has to go to them. But not only kids, you're probably working to make ends meet, and I have a full-time job as well. So you're doing all that stuff. So you're tired.
Exactly.
People with young kids are just tired all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of dead behind the eyes. But I'm constantly fighting to not die behind the eyes. That's my goal. Like,
wow.
So if someone looks at me and says, "Geez, you're dead behind the eyes," then it's time for me to do something about it. You know, like, I really feel that you have to. Like, music is my passion, like, you know, and I have to fight to keep doing it. I don't want to be like one of my old friends who would have said, "Oh, I'm going to give it up now," you know, I'm settling down. I'm never, ever giving up that. It's part of me. Do you know what I mean? It gives me energy, it gives me something to look forward to. But kids, like, Jesus, they're amazing. They're fantastic. And my three are just the best. Like, they're brilliant, fantastic kids. Like, they're just brilliant. And
I like the idea of, there's something about, like, teaching. Like that I like, as in like you're imparting wisdom onto these like beings, you know what I mean? And it's something like, oh, I can show you all the little mistakes that I made, so you don't have to do any of that in a way. So I think eventually, you know what I mean? Maybe like I think I'd regret it if I didn't have kids. You know what I mean? I think I'd be like, should have had kids. You know what I mean? But then it's like what you're saying there. Like I'm in this phase of my life, I'm like. I'm willing to sacrifice like love and all that, like just to be like go hell for leather on this or whatever, and not make that a priority or whatever. But you
can do all you're doing in a relationship as long as your other half is understanding and supportive.
That's the thing.
Which I'm very lucky to have. That. But just when kids, it's like this. This is the way I think about it. When I wake up in the morning, if I have a good sleep, my battery's full. Then I do my full-time job, and it's probably half full or there's probably a quarter of it left. 3/4 gone. And then I go home and I have a quarter left for my kids, which goes very quickly because you come home and you're feeding them, you're minding, you're looking after them, you're helping home.
Spend that time.
And by the time then the evening comes, you're just spent. So the idea of doing something creative, you can't. So it's kind of, so then on the weekend then I have to kind of push myself energy-wise to get out and do what I do and play gigs. But it's worth it. But then again, the thing about kids is the next day you don't have much of a lion, like which I need because I need my sleep. It's kind of like going out. It's like back in the day, I love going out. I still do, but I just know that the next day I can't recover. I can't stay in bed till midday, and I can't throw Netflix on and get a chipper at 7 and just chill out. Like, those days are gone. So
you have responsibility in a way.
It's just different, like,
but,
you know.
In a way, like that responsibility, like it helps to, well, I imagine like light the fire under you. Like I need to provide.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
So the fact that I'm not responsible for anybody means that like I'm more lackadaisy in a way. Not that I am lackadaisy. I am pretty like, you know, driven, let's say. That's what I like. That's how I can describe you as it seems like you're just really driven. Just from your backstory and the fact that you're able to try pursue these things even after having kids and not letting go of that. I think that's it's very inspiring to hear as well, because I like the idea of I'd never want to I'd love to just like be doing something for the rest of my days and not like think, oh, I need to retire from this thing. Like I'd like to be doing something where I just want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As in, like with the music and stuff, it's like, right, regardless, let's say you have to pay the bills, you know what I mean, in some way. But the fact that you're gigging, like, and obviously you have your work as well, it's like you're kind of getting best of both, because obviously, like, there's a bit of financial incentive from the gigs, then you're getting paid from your work. So it's like, but eventually, like, you could, I mean, when your kids are all grown up, like, the gigging could just be like, I mean, that could be your thing. You know what I mean? You could just leave everything else.
Well, people often say to me, "Would you not go full time kind of thing?" But it's not secure enough. I think.
It's not secure enough. That's actually a good way of putting
Like friends
it.
who are full time, and they might have a residency in a bar, but like a residency doesn't last forever. You might get 6 weeks, 6 months out of it, but eventually then that'll stop, and then you're kind of scrapped. It's like it's hard to balance it, because nowadays I'm inundated with gigs. Like I turned in a gig for Saturday today. I got offered a gig, and I couldn't take it because I knew I was playing Friday, and I had plans all day Saturday, so I knew the energy wouldn't be there. Do you know what I mean? See, I'm always tinkering on burnout. That's what I find. Just now at this phase of me life. Just go all week. I've a demanding kind of day, Monday to Friday job.
Yeah.
Then the weekends you're playing once. Now sometimes I play twice if it's local, but Friday's the Man of War in Balbriggan, and Saturday was a town gig, and I was just like to the guy who's a good guy. I said, "Look, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna have to turn this now, because I just know myself. I could be like, Friday night could be a 3-hour gig.
Yeah.
I'll get home at 1:30. I'll be wired to the moon. I won't be able to sleep till 2:30.
That's the thing. You get home. Even at the open mics, I get home and I'm wired.
Yeah, that's the thing. You are wired.
How do you combat that?
You just go home and you just eat. You'd be starving first.
Yeah.
You wired. You just calm it down. You just have to wait. You kind of just watch telly and just let it go.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's very hard. The hardest thing is when you have 2 gigs in a row. So if you play a Friday night, you kind of have to go, right, I can't. Like, I love just having to tell it to myself for once and just sitting down and watching it. But sometimes if you've 2 in a row, you just have to go home, grab something to eat and jump into bed, and then just obviously you'll probably go to sleep quicker. But yeah, you'll be wired. Like when I set up at 9, you might be tired. But when you finish at 12:30,
oh god,
you feel like you could run a marathon. Like that's why it's so addictive.
Yeah,
it's so addictive. Like it really is.
But you're doing gigs where you're performing for like that extended period of time just for that. I feel that with I bus for like one time in Scaries, I think I bus for like 8 hours or something. Like,
wow.
Like and I was at the end of it, I was bollocks, and the people were like, "You need to go home." I was just like, because I love it. I always just go like, one more. I kept.
From what time? Like to what time?
It was like I started like 12 in the day, like till it was during the summer at 8.
Okay, yeah.
But it's like that when you start like with the whole busking thing. I think I get a better response now because I actually have just gotten better. You know what I mean? That's how I can gauge it. I think. So then when you start getting a good response in a way, and it is addictive, like, because you're like, oh, I'll do one more because I have you here. I have you here listening, and you kind of get in on that. But it's very. Then you're just like, you know what I mean. You can be wired, and then the next day you can be really spent. Though I found, like, you give all your energy. But
plus you're dehydrated as well, I find. I started drinking Dior-lights now during gigs.
Oh, brilliant.
Because you're like Christy Moore, they're pumping in sweat. Because like even last Saturday, I went into a bar and it was packed. There was a birthday party on, so it was very busy, and it was very hot anyway going in. So generally I'm sweating when I finished, because I have to lift as well. So I'm doing heavy lifting off gear on my own. So I'm bringing that in, so you're breaking a sweat. Then you're doing it in a roasting hot bar. So you've set everyone, and you're sweating, and then you have to go, right, you're going to kick it off. And so Dior lights are great. Like, you keep chugging them, but you're still, sometimes if maybe you forget to go to the chemist, get Dior lights, or you haven't drank enough, it's like a hangover because you're so dehydrated. Like.
You don't have your salts. I found you get headaches if sometimes I do like fasting, and I'd be like, oh, why am I feeling my brain? I feel foggy in my brain. And it's not even because of the fasting, it's because I haven't had any salt in hours. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing. Like, salt is it's actually real important. It gets a bad rap. People are always like, don't put salt in things, but you should actually especially if you're doing like high intensity stuff where you're actually your energy is being consumed. But just on the gig and stuff, like, so how many songs, like, how many songs do you need to know, do you think? Like, as in for you, Like, how many songs do you know that you could just? You probably like. Is there a number, or do you have a set list like at all, or?
So what I do, I probably have a 4-hour set list,
Well,
and I probably have what how many? Well, yeah, I could probably fill 4 hours, no bother.
Jesus Christ!
But
Yeah.
I would have I have different books basically. So I have a number one set list, say. So at the moment I have a set list made a few weeks ago, which I'm playing nearly everywhere now at the moment.
Okay.
Right?
And what's that based on?
It's based on upbeat tunes at the moment that
Yes.
I'm doing, and also
The current kind of songs.
no, but I play everything from pop, rock, reggae, country,
Yes.
bit of everything. Like,
Yeah.
so you're going from the Beatles to Johnny Cash to Bob Marley to U2 to Christy Moore to traditional Irish songs.
So you kind of need it all.
To
You need a balance.
you need everything. So yeah. So back in the day when I went from playing original songs to doing professional covers, if you like,
Yeah.
I used to do residencies, and that was a great lesson because I used to play. I mean, one of the first residencies was in. It's gone now. The station is in Raheny. It's now to Manhattan, but I used to play there every Sunday, was it? Whatever, can't remember.
Yeah.
Every Saturday or Sunday. But when you play a residency, you quickly learn. I can't play the same stuff every week here.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Shit.
I need to mix this up big time, and I need to mix it up fast. So you start going, right, I need to learn 4 or 5 songs a week just to throw these in. So that's how I really built up the set list then of loads more songs. And now what I have, so I'll have one book where I'll have tonight's set, say. So I'll do about 14 an hour. You do about 28 roughly, maybe 30 in 2 hours, right? So that'll be for a gig, say. So I'll have that book, and that'll be in front of me, and I'll go through that, and I have that kind of to a T. I'll start with kind of some upbeats, then I'll bring it down a bit, and then it's kind of like I remember I was reading a Christy Digna book, and he was saying it's like a W. You start upbeat, then you bring it down, and you go upbeat again, and you bring it down, and you end on a high.
Brilliant.
And that's what they said, and it's kind of
That's
true.
a great way to remember it.
Yeah, it's like a W. So that's kind of the way I do it. Then I have a trad book of Irish songs. Sorry, I'm gone.
No,
A
that's
trad
brilliant,
book of Irish songs, 2-hour set of Irish songs, which I would have made because I was getting Paddy's Day gigs and because I was playing in more traditional bars. So
Yeah.
they're like, we need, you'd be contacted, can you do a 2-hour set of Irish songs? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You've like a month to learn it. Yeah, so and then you have them. Once you have them, you have them. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'd have that then. I might have that on another stand just in case. You'd pull out the Wild Rover or Whiskey in a Jar, whatever when you need it. Then I'd have another book of mellow tunes, so 2-hour set of mellow songs. So if I get a gig in a place where it's quiet or they want mellower stuff or it's an older crowd, then you have that. So I have those 3 books, and then I have another book of kind of everything, which is a big thick thing, but I can't fit everything in because it's full up.
Yeah.
So that's alphabetical.
Oh, well.
So it would have
if you need to,
Angels, Alice, all the way to Viva La Vida or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So you have all this. And again, that's just from years of experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But then also, the set can totally change. You know what I mean? So you can't really stick to the set.
Yes.
If you know what I mean? So sometimes, like as I said, last Saturday I was playing, and so I'm going through the set nicely, and literally 3 songs in, they're all up dancing, giving it socks, right? Giving it loads. But they were an older kind of crowd. So I was thinking, right, I need to keep them up. As you were saying, like when they're busking, when you get them, you need to keep them.
Yes.
Which is why being in a band was hard, because you'd have a stricter set and you can't go, right, lads, 5 years, let's all come together in this strange song that only I know, or you know, or he, you know what I mean? That kind of, whereas when you're on your own, you can totally just go, right, let's segue into this one. Yeah. So I was like, right, these are an older crowd. I need to keep them up. So next minute, I just pulled out 3 Elvis songs in a row, kept them going. Then I pulled out a bit of Johnny Cash, 2 or 3 of them in a row, kept them going. And that kind of thing, you know what I mean? But then they might go to the bar, go to the toilet, or anything, or other times.
But that's what you're thinking. Like you're thinking, I have them now.
You're constantly
thinking, what's next?
Yeah, and it's only over time you get that
sense.
You get that. You can read
intuition.
the crowd. Yeah. So near the end of a set, I always have the ones that I guarantee will fill the floor. It's kind of,
because you just know you've been there before.
Yeah. So you know the ones. There's songs that you just pull out. You know.
Yeah, you don't even. You just know subconsciously even like the feel of this room.
Yeah.
How this song is currently going. Like you've obviously, because you've done so many hours, it's like there's like a smell in a way, like, you know what I mean? Like no, but it's
Plenty of smells.
Yeah,
in the bars
there's
I'm
plenty
playing
of
now.
smells. But you know, when you do something enough times, like driving, for example, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You start off driving, you're like, oh, you're thinking about everything, but then eventually you're just doing it, and you don't even think about it, and you take for granted what you pick up. Like, let's say if you come into this room, even, right, and you're real pissed off, you have a real angry face, like that's going to change my energy.
Yeah, you can
because
feel it, yeah.
I'm not consciously doing that. It's just happening. It just happens. So you've built your like spidey sense for the gigs has like developed over time, and it's just really interesting because that's a whole other thing, like keeping them in.
See, like, because you might have, like, you never know what's going to happen. Like, you might go into a bar and it's quiet, and you go, oh, it's quiet, it's going to be. Now, but sometimes if you're wrecked, quiet gigs are great because you just mellow it out and you just play away and it's all fine.
Yeah.
But if you're up for it and then it's a quiet gig and you're going, oh, I'm chugging away, there's nothing happening. Like some gigs you played the same set that you did a week before, and it's not. There's nothing. It's just the crowd aren't into it, or they're not in the mood, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But the week later or the week before, you might have had the exact same set, and you had them for 2 hours, and they're throwing cash at you and pints and everything. But then other times you have a bar that's quiet, and you're like, and you're mellowing it out with Let It Be, and then you're playing Christy Moore, and it's all nice, and maybe you haven't played it before. Oh, this is the type of gig this is, fine. And 10 minutes later, 19 ladies come in who are in a hen party. Next minute, you're pulling out the Britney Spears, you're pulling out Rihanna, you're pulling out everything. I will survive.
Oh, man.
You know, all this stuff. But so it's split second, quick, get that lyric up, bang, 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 get them up, keep them going.
That's fucking
that kind of thing. But then they might go.
That's a whole.
So then you might go
yes.
back. So it's just, I suppose it's intuition you learn.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's,
intuition,
yeah,
but
you're
also
constantly learning,
you learn on the job in a way, and it's brilliant how you've kind of. I think this is really good information just for anyone thinking about, especially even for me. Like these books, sound like they're like the Bibles of gigging in a way.
And the thing is, I learned it on myself. I had no mentor around. Like a lot of people are lucky. Unfortunately, I didn't have any musical mentors in my life really who guided me or said, get this gear, or try this, or learn this song, or what about this? And I just had to do it on my own kind of thing, which was.
You learn the hard way, but
sad,
you learn
I suppose,
it.
in some way, but another way it makes you more independent, that kind of thing, you know.
And you really learn it then.
Because you just rely on yourself. Yeah.
There's something like, let's say if I say, oh, don't put your hand on the oven, like you hurt your hand, like, and then you're like, oh, I'll do it anyway. And then you burn your hand. You really learn from burning your hand. Or, for example, I dropped my phone once, and now anytime I buy a new phone, I buy a cover straight away. You know what I mean? Because we only learn from when we were like...
And that's what we were talking about, the trial and error thing. Start the podcast, start the open mics, start gigging with whatever gear you have. And if it breaks or if it doesn't work, or if you go, that's too much feedback to that, I need to buy this, you learn it faster. It'll be more embarrassing, but you'll learn it quicker.
Yes,
by doing it.
It's more embarrassing. That's the thing.
It is more embarrassing.
But you have to, if you can be resilient to that embarrassment.
You learn a lot more doing it. Like, it's like climbing. It's like if you're climbing a mountain and you're looking at all the YouTube videos and you're, practicing with grips in your room and all. You know what I mean? You might do that for a year and you'll get a bit stronger, but until you go out and it's windy and it's snowing and it's raining and the rocks are falling down and there's wild animals pecking at your head, that's how you learn quicker, And you might injure yourself along the way, but you'll learn quicker.
Exactly. It's like reading about swimming versus swimming. You know what I mean? You can't read, like, you just have to get in. You have to get into the deep end. But with the gigging, I think it's just brilliant to hear all this and just try to understand like the sort of the thought process of because you're just like a veteran, obviously, you know what I mean? So you're explaining stuff that I didn't even think about, you know what I mean? Like maintaining that energy, thinking about specific songs. So when you needed to learn all your songs, like what's your process for learning a song on the guitar or whatever? Yeah, so
I'm kind of very academic kind of way I do it. I'd be like, I know other people, in one way I'm kind of musical brain, but also academic, and I'm kind of, I feel I'm pretty organized. I feel like I have to be organized as well. So I'd get the lyrics and I'd type them up.
Yes.
I'd type them and I'd have them in a certain font with certain gaps, maybe some chords written down. And once I have it printed out, then it's born, if you like.
Yes.
No, then it's pregnant. It's pregnant, right? It's not born yet. So once I have the sheet, so just say I'm doing a new song this Friday.
Yeah.
If I have the lyrics printed out, there's a good chance I'll play it. But if I don't, I probably won't risk it. So I'll have it there. So I'll have it like I have the books as a safety net. I generally don't need them.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing them so long. But again, when
Just-
you're doing a 2.5 hour gig,
Your brain will go fuzzy.
you need some safety net. You might forget a
Yeah.
lyric or something. You don't want that. So there's a safety net. But so I'll have the sheet, and the idea is pregnant, if you like. Once I have the sheet with the lyrics on it, then I'll bring it to the gig, and then once I play it once, then it's born.
Okay.
And so, for example,
But do you try to learn the lyrics before the gig?
Generally it'll be a song. I generally learn songs I want to learn or I
so
like.
you like-
So I
you're
kind of know
bit
half of them
familiar with
anyway,
it,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. Like I know them, but I just print them out just to know them 100%,
Yes.
that kind of thing. And then
Would
once
you print out the chords as well? Or?
I just write,
Oh yeah, just on it. Yeah.
one, generally verse.
C, yeah,
C, A, D, G,
yeah,
verse,
yeah,
top
yeah.
line, and then chorus, D, A, G.
Yeah.
Bridge, B minor, E minor,
Yeah,
D7,
yeah.
blah blah. That's
Perfect.
all. But I don't need to. I used it was a very new song. I didn't really know. I'd have to put the chord
At
in. I
each
used to put the
word or
chord at each
whatever.
word. But generally now it's just like
just like, okay,
just write them,
yeah.
and I can
Figure
strum
it
away,
out.
that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
and then once you play it again, I wouldn't have much time to practice at home. But you might just a lot of times you just bang it out live in front of. It's gas when you think back. You go, I can never do this. But when you're in the adrenaline high of a gig and it's going well, and you've learned some song, you go, right, it's 12 o'clock, so I'll sneak this one in, see how it goes, kind of thing.
Okay.
And you're literally looking at the words,
Strumming.
and just, and you know pretty quick then if it suits your voice. If it doesn't, you might need to raise the the tempo or whatever, throw a capo on next time, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
But then,
Oh my god, that's crazy.
is it?
Yeah, well, like the fact that the capo thing, the fact that you're like, oh, I might need to change, like you haven't even figured out, like you're just winging it. That's brilliant.
Sometimes
though.
you wing it, yeah. And other times then you're mashing in lyrics to songs with other songs that you've never. Sometimes you play things you've never done before, and you just mash them in, and it works.
Yes.
And sometimes it doesn't.
Your
But
brain just
it's
merges
about doing that kind of stuff, Or
Yeah.
you might pull out. Sometimes you're playing a song, and then you go, I need to play this song next. I have them. I need to get this song next, but the lyrics are in the car or home, or I haven't played this in 10 years. But you just go, let's
You
go
know
for
that
it.
this is going to
And
be
you
the
blast
one.
it out, like, and if it's the one that they were looking for, you're grand because they'll sing half it along anyway, so you're fine. But sometimes, you don't have the words, or there's some I could probably play all of them without any lyrics, but just as a safety net, it's probably a psychological thing. I just have always have them, like,
But I
there's
mean,
some
even
that
not that Christy Moore forgets that much, but I remember I was watching one of his gigs. He even messes up every now and again. You know what I mean? Because when you know so many songs, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Your brain is just going to fizzle out sometimes. And but because I thought, I'd love to I don't have enough time to like learn. I've only time really to practice my own stuff at the moment, but like down the line, this is what I'm saying. Like I don't want to ever stop music either. So if I would ever need to make it financially viable in some way, it's like what's the path forward to like gigs? And obviously, you need. I think obviously having the song, you need a good collection of songs. Like first and foremost,
you need a 2-hour set of songs.
Yeah,
and you need a PA system if you want to play in bars that don't have a PA.
Yes,
and you need just.
And how would you build that first set list? What would you do?
Well,
if I burned all your books.
You robbed me boot. You well, what I did was I would have just went to gigs like in Temple Bar and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And you'd be at gigs and you'd hear some guy playing "I Will Survive" in it, like the version the band Cake did, a funky version. You go, that's class. Okay. And you just write a little note down, or or you hear him playing this, and then you just the crowd plays, like Brown Eyed Girl and all these other songs. You kind of have to know, the staples. Molly Malone, all these ones. You kind of you don't have to know, but it's handy to know. But that's how I did it. I would have gone to been in bars with cover acts playing stuff like that, and you just note them down and go, I need to learn that, and after a while you've learned it. But see, when I was gigging with originals, there was always say, you might do a 45-minute set. Most of the gigs I used to do with originals, and you do say 8 songs, 6 of your own, 2 covers. So I would have had 10 or 15 by the time I even started. So I would have pulled all them in and then learned another 15, and then I'd be covered. But then, over the years, you discard some, you bring some
I have
back.
a few, I have a good few. I say about 10, 15 Irish ones. A few other covers. I just have to kind of reiterate on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you do, and then you learn. You obviously know because when you're learning as well, like trying to play the songs. Actually, what got me into guitar was I got my heart broken for the first time, so I was just playing. Trying to learn how to play sad songs.
And did
on a guitar.
Did that help you heal?
Yeah, it helped me. It pushed me to play, and it helped me.
We heal from the broken heart.
It was a few things. A part of me was in a weird way, like at the time I was like, I'm gonna write a song for this girl,
okay,
or I'll send her this song that I'll do a cover of this beautiful. So there's all these mental weird shit in my head. I had a psychotic break for like a year. It felt like anyway, like when I got
normal
exactly, but I did find it was very healing because I was able to relate to sad music in a way that I'd never done before. Like when people are singing about heartbreak. I never got it in a way. Like you don't get it until you get it. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, I know that. I know the pain and the way they talk about the pain, and they give it such weight and gravitas. But I found and playing through it and singing the lyrics, it just it helped me kind of. Because I think I was about 24 when I picked up the guitar, and I always had this idea. I bought a piano before that, but I never.
Did you get lessons or did you teach yourself?
No, just myself. Exactly. Fucking
go for it.
I wanted to get a guitar, but I was real poor at the time, and I actually got I was asking my friend Breno. Shout out to Breno because I seen his granddad had an old guitar, and it was up in his shed, and we were smoking weed and all whatever it was. This when we were real young. And then I'd see the guitar there, and I remember asking him, "Can I have that guitar?" But then he said, "No, like you can't use that one." But his sister then, shout out to Heather, who gave me my first guitar. It was like a Kaido, real old one, but she wasn't using it, so she just said, "Oh, you can have this guitar."
Great.
And then I got this guitar, and I was like, "Okay." And then it's a lot. With the guitar, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, like chords and the strumming is most important, actually.
Yeah.
And that's why I noticed with you. I remember seeing
you sent me a message one time.
Yeah, because you were so loose.
That was very nice of you.
I know, because I noticed the one thing I've learned is loosen up that hand. I tried it. Like I used to be a lot more like this, and like in the last month, I'd say I've gotten a little bit. I'm trying to just flick my wrist. Like when I'm driving, I'll hold a pick. And I'll just flick my wrist.
Oh yeah.
And I'll do like imagine 1, 2. So double things. So I'm practicing. I'm like just to loosen up my hand.
Yeah.
But with strumming, you it just came with time. Do you think? Or did you purposely?
Yeah. And I was just like for the first few years I didn't know, so I just did it. But then I didn't get lessons when I was a kid in primary school. Say when I was 8, I got lessons for maybe a month, and then the teacher stopped giving them, so that was the end of that. And then when I was about 16, a guy I knew, like a friend of mine's boyfriend, started playing all these Nirvana songs down at the beach one night. I was like, what? You can play? I was so naive. I was like, you can play songs like that on a guitar. I thought you could only play Bodgy and Ilamy or some mad stuff, just traditional stuff. He was playing all this cool grungy stuff, and I was like, wow, blew my mind. I never copped on that you could play that kind of stuff on a guitar. So then I just started teaching myself. So I kind of taught myself, and with the strumming, then I didn't think about it. It was more chords I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But then before I recorded my album, then I did go for a few lead kind of guitar lessons because I wanted to put a lot of lead licks on the album. So I went for about like a secondary school night course thing, again 6 weeks. So I haven't had many lessons at all. That was all I had. But in terms of strumming,
did you get a good bit out of that, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Because I wasn't taught, and I didn't have enough lessons, so I didn't know.
So many things were just probably doing wrong.
In terms of solo, I needed to write solos for my songs, so I needed lessons to go. Where do I go on scales and all this stuff? So I did learn an awful lot, and I felt I practiced and got a lot out of it. But in terms of strumming, I suppose I used to be a big fan of Paddy Casey. And his first album had those kind of that kind of strumming on it. And I remember thinking, I'd love to do that next. So I can do that stuff now. But again, during a gig, I need to warm up to that. Or if I haven't gigged in a while, I can't do it for maybe 2 weeks.
Interesting.
If I'm gigging every weekend, it's
just like
first or second song, it's grand.
Yeah.
But if I haven't gigged in a while, it's I won't risk it.
Interesting.
Some of them, like if there's some songs I play where I'm really flicking that
flicking
that strum, if you want to call it. But I have to be well
loosened up,
loose and well. Like it's like training. It's like jogging, gigging.
Oh,
it's really like jogging. Like your fingers, my fingers now would be rock hard. Like, so you could set them on fire, no problem. They'd be grand, you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, man, yeah.
So every week I'm getting, that's fine, that's grand. And your voice is strong as well. Like I feel my voice now is at peak because it's just strong now.
I think it gets better. I think it gets better.
Totally.
As
But if I took a few weeks off, then it would dip.
Yeah.
It's like it is a muscle.
You need to sing basically.
Yeah, it's singing all the time. So
a lot of times a week.
And it's the same as strumming. It's
you need to be doing
if you're
it.
off. So that's why I like gigging every weekend, because I get to play,
keeps you fresh,
get to practice,
in a way.
and get to do what I love. Yeah.
Because the strumming is it's something that if I look at my when I first began, it was all about remembering strumming patterns, but now it's more like strumming energy. So I think in terms of energy.
And is this for your own tunes?
Yeah.
So are you trying to put strums into certain parts in your songs?
I'm not thinking about the strumming as much anymore. I'm just thinking I'm going with the feeling.
Okay.
More than I'm not thinking, oh, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, I have whatever I've learned, whatever style I've kind of embodied is whatever is happening.
Yeah.
But the one thing is just that I'm getting looser with my hand, and I'm able to put the other thing is just dynamics. Like I'm not like you know what I mean. I'm not like super well versed in the guitar, but if you play less strings and then you play more strings, or you play softer and harder for the verses and chorus, that creates so much dynamics.
Totally.
And then like when you're like doing a verse and then there's a bit of silence, you can just and it just adds more. But one thing actually at your show, the tuner that I had was out of tune. It was tuned to so like it was like 450 hertz or something.
Okay.
And I did a few gigs.
Maybe you're looking for. Did you get a tuner?
That was my tuner.
Okay.
And then I was trying to record for this album, right? And I wasn't going with the instrumentation. I was like, what is going on here? I have it tuned up, and then I looked at the tuner, and it was like, because it tunes to it, for some reason it allows you to tune. So imagine on a piano, like whatever, it's tuned like. I think 440 hertz away from each one.
Okay.
I think that's the way I think about it. Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
But it was tuned to 450, so it was slightly off. So when I was watching the videos, I was like, oh, what? My guitar doesn't sound that good. Is it my playing? Is it all this? And like, it could have been my playing as well, but it came down to the tune, and I done my first kind of guest spot at this Smithfield as well.
Okay.
That I put loads of and then I was watching the videos. I was like, oh, that guitar is out of tune a little bit. I don't know.
So it was out of tune with itself. It wasn't a tune even with itself. You mean, or just it was out of standard tune?
Like anytime I moved the capo, it would be really out of tune. But it wasn't like the notes weren't the notes in a way. Like
Okay.
They would be like, for every note, it was like 10 hertz off, whatever that means.
If you played a chord without a capo, did it sound like the chord?
I thought it did.
Okay. Well,
I thought it did, but my ear could have been tricking me. I'm not like, you know what I mean? It felt weird. But I noticed with the capo really changed it then.
Okay.
But I noticed when I was listening back, watching it.
Yeah.
And then also, if you don't have your guitar tuned, it fucks up your singing, man. Like it brings your singing into different places.
Yeah.
It like really does. Like, I'd be like, why? What? It feels like my voice is changing key or something.
If you put an amazing musician on a stage with an untuned guitar, no matter how unformed they will sound horrific.
Yes.
Whereas if you put someone on after them who was tuned up and was average, everyone would say, "Oh, the second guy was better."
Because your ears just like, "Oh, this is satisfying."
All the stuff needs to be on point.
It does
for everything to, and then you hope you're on point. But your instruments you can control. That's the nice thing. Your voice and stuff you can't like.
But that made me just double check my tuner now, which is another. It shouldn't even have that sound.
Yeah, that just throws you. Just throws you. Definitely,
Just want to get into one, at least one more little thing.
No hurry.
I just know it's past 9. My brother is probably like hoping that we'll finish up soon.
Oh, no problem. Yeah,
this is the latest podcast I've actually done.
Thanks for accommodating
me. You can see we're getting energy from each other now as it goes on, because I was a bit tired before this. But just on them, because you've from what I can see, your sort of social media, like your Instagram, like the followers, the posts, like what you seem to be doing something well on Instagram, and one thing I've seen that that's working really well on the open mics for me, and people it's like a kind of meme now, but putting my name on the guitar.
Oh yeah.
Like I seen you do that, and I
Yeah.
thought that's fucking brilliant. Why isn't everyone doing that? And I do it now. And then when other people are using my guitar, and it becomes a joke, oh, Basil Breen, everyone's just saying my fucking name all the time. And that's
Great
the
name.
point. That's actually the point. Because it's like, and because of it, and now it's like basilbreen.com is the joke. Like, look at basilbreen.com. So they're saying my website name for me. You know what I mean?
That's how I got my name.
Oh.
Because my name's Killian and my nickname in school was Killer or Killers. So I used to go by that when I was playing solo. But then when I released the album, there was some other musician, I can't remember who it was, but they had their name Ceol.com, as in their music.
Oh.
So because I couldn't do .killer.com, would be like a crazy website. So, do you know what I mean? So I was like, instead of going Killer's music, I'm very Irish and I'm very proud of being Irish and I like speaking Gaelic and all that stuff. So whatever. So I put down www.killerkill.com, made a website. And then when I started promoting the album on radio shows and different stuff like that, F104 Radio Nova, all that stuff, they started calling me Killer Kill. And I was like, that's not my name. And they're like, yeah, but you're emailing us from this address called Killer Kill. And then after a while I was like, well, actually, if I put Killer in a search engine, it doesn't come up anything to do with me. But if I put in that, it kind of like makes me stand out of it. So that's how that happened. But
interesting. So you're from marketing savvy like myself a bit.
Well, it's kind of accidental. Like, I know everyone on Instagram's calling me Ceol, which is weird. I don't know why.
People are calling you music.
Yeah, it's people, when they comment on me, they don't go, well done, Killer, or well done this. They go, well done, Ceol.
I say Killer.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
mind.
Like, sound Killer.
I don't mind, but it's just weird calling somebody their second name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's second name.
Your
Second name, yeah.
But yeah, so on the Instagram stuff, because you were saying the show-off sessions, they had a good following on Facebook. So obviously you were more Facebook centric.
It started, so that started on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I started that on Instagram.
Yeah, so with Killer Ceol then with Instagram, because I like seeing what you're doing. Like what do you think you're doing well on Instagram? Like, and the other thing I just want to say as well is that for musicians, like to try and make this thing financially viable, it's like marketing is part of it. And it's like, if we're already doing jobs that we don't like, like working in shops, Tesco, service things, whatever, any job that isn't something that we want to do, then to try and make the music financially viable, it's like you should really take marketing yourself serious, I think. You know what I mean? Why not? Like,
it's a huge part.
You shouldn't shy away from it.
There's so many musicians I know who are, I don't know if they're shy, but they don't promote themselves. Yeah, now, that's fine. Some people don't want, and that's cool. That's no problem. But you're not going to get out there as much. You're not going to get as many gigs.
Yes,
definitely not, because you have to. No one. There's no managers now like Paul McGuinness who are going to
waiting for you to come in.
It's not going to. No one's going to knock on your door.
You need to be your manager.
You have to put yourself out there if you want to.
Yes.
Do more with music, basically.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You have to. If you don't, you'll just disappear. Because already, people like you and me who are putting ourselves out there, we're still in the billions of people in the world who are doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to do it. And basically, when my wife was saying to me, "You need to get onto Instagram," and I was like, "Oh no, grass. Facebook's fine. It's grass." And I've got onto Instagram with the show-off sessions because obviously, I suppose it's a younger audience. Is that fair to say? So I was trying to give them an avenue to contact me, so that was fine. And then after a while, then I said, actually no, when the band was kind of fizzling out, after the pandemic, the band wasn't getting any gigs because obviously bars didn't want a big group of people in the corner. Yeah. Musicians sweating and spitting and shouting over everyone.
Doing all musician-y stuff.
Also, they were cautious about pay and bands cost more and all that. So we weren't getting the gigs. So it was dying quick, you know what I mean? But I didn't want to die. And then suddenly though, I started getting offered gigs. Pretty quickly, like the August of last summer, I was getting gigs in the local and then turned into more. And then it really boomed for solo acts. Now, I'd been doing solo for 15 years before I got the band together. So I was well versed. I had all my set lists and everything, it's fine. I was just jumping back in. But what was the question again?
Just on your Instagram.
Oh, yeah. So then I said, right, new starts, pandemic's over, gigging on my own again, grand. I said, right, let's hit Instagram. So I did my homework, basically. I studied it, if you like.
Yes.
Not like in books, but, I just looked at YouTube videos and said, what do you do? And I just got and it was all talking about Reels, basically. Reels was where it was at. So I said, okay. So I was in the mindset of Facebook where it's photos and the odd video, whereas this is just reels.
Yes.
Don't put it up as a video, put it up as a reel. So I was doing all that. And I just kept doing that. And then I slowly was building an audience. And from January to the summer, then I got 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
Which I was pretty proud of, because I was kind of going, I need 1,000 to look.
Basically from posting and stuff. Mainly, do you think?
Well, also, so from doing that, but also at gigs, I would make flyers. And I would give them out. And I would say, how you doing? I'm Killer Ceol. I'm a musician from Dublin. If you like what you hear, please follow me on Instagram at Killer Ceol.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. And then that way, then I'd wake up next morning on a Sunday and there'd be 6 new followers or 8 new followers and that kind of stuff. So that was powerful. I thought that was really helpful. So that's a good thing to do.
You're making use of the gigs. And
so the videos were being pushed out a lot, and I was getting followers. But then, face to face, if you like, people who see me the night before were following me, and that kind of thing. And then I just that double attack, if you like, really got everyone going. And then I hit 1,000 in the summer, and I'm just kind of weekly on a Saturday I post a reel of a small snippet of a cover. And again, it's just like 15 seconds. That's all people want.
You were saying to me, all your gigs now are coming from Instagram.
Yeah. So after the first month or two, so before the pandemic, it was very much hustling, calling into bars, looking for managers. Are they here? Will you give them me card? Calling the next Thursday. Are they working today? No, they're off. When are they in? They're in Saturday morning. What time? 10. Ringing. Hustling. Like massive amount of work. Like, it's not easy. You have to love it. So I was doing, or you have to be desperate. Yeah,
you're a masochist.
But no, you put in a lot of groundwork. Whereas now, that's kind of gone. I don't need to call into anyone. And since Instagram, since I got more followings on Instagram, then suddenly these bars started following me I never heard of. These promoters started following me I never heard of. Wow. And next minute, I played in the bus bar in Skerries a few times, and the manager was following me for a few weeks beforehand, and I was thinking, you check who's this person following me. And they're like, oh, they work in the bus bar and all. Next minute, he texts me, are you around for a gig? And I'm like, oh, great, perfect. And then so after a while, then all the gigs start coming through Instagram.
That's insane.
And other venues would email me or message me and say, can you play the 19th of whatever? And I'd say yes or no. And if I couldn't, I'd say no, but I can play the following Saturday or the Saturday before.
Yes.
Great, get you in. And once you're in then, and you do a good job, you get a load of gigs out of them.
This is what I mean. This is like the power of, like, you could say, like, all right, it's not about the numbers and all this stuff, right? Like, you shouldn't be comparing yourself against other people. That's the danger of social media. But, like, it's such a powerful tool. Like, if you
for me it is. Yeah.
You can. It's more like you were saying before, becoming independent. Like, it allows you to take your own marketing into your own hands, and now you've created something where the work is coming to you. Like, I think that's a very inspiring story for people to hear.
Well, it's only. You go through spurts of it over the years, but I think this is the best it's ever been for me.
Yeah.
Because before, as I said, it was hustle.
Yeah, you've been doing it for so long.
But now, I suppose with social media now, it's easier for people. So some barmen might want to ring a business card and go, I don't want to ring this. I have to ring this. I don't, then it turns into texting. But now it's Instagram, so that it's easy enough for them to look at my page, find me, look at the first video or the second video, and then look at a poster and go, oh, he's doing loads of gigs. He must be fairly handy. See the video. Oh no, he can spin a tune together. It's easy. I suppose it's more accessible for them. Whereas when you're going into a bar, you're not playing, you're just asking, So now they can go onto Instagram and they see you're playing all around the place, and they see your video and then they go, yeah, Grant, can you do this or can you do that? Or private parties, can you do my uncle's birthday? Can you do our wedding? Can you do our wedding? Can you do our wedding? Next day of the wedding, can you do this? Can you do that? And then word of mouth, and then venues you're in, then give your details to people who are looking for you.
Interesting.
They might say, oh, I got your number from the barman in this place. I need you for a birthday party. Can you do that?
So the networking.
So at the moment it's like I'm actually taking 2 weekends off at Christmas because just for myself, because I need to go out and have pints. I need to catch up with people and just have a bit of a life,
and that's what it's about as well.
Yeah. Because as much as I love it and it's brilliant, you do need to sometimes have a bit of downtime. So I'm taking 2 weekends off in the middle for Christmas parties and that kind of stuff. But then I'm back in and I'm playing the Wednesday before Christmas, the Wednesday after Christmas, and all that.
It's like me. I feel I know that that ambition or that drive.
Kindred spirits, man. Kindred spirits.
Like I feel, I know, but now I see it. Like, and it makes so much sense because if I just keep iterating on stuff, eventually I'll be like, oh yeah, I have this bow speaker, I have this monitor, I have all this stuff.
See, we're like sharks. If we stop moving, we die.
That's
what I heard. Who said that?
Exactly.
I think it was your man,
Jaws.
Jordan Peterson.
Could have been, yeah.
He said that, you know, sharks have to move.
Moving. Oh,
if
that's
they get
funny.
stuck in a net, they die.
They
like, you know
die.
these nets they put in Bondi Beach to stop them. If they can't swim, the air doesn't go into their gills.
Oh
they
my
die.
goodness.
So I remember reading that going, that sounds
That's
like
hilarious.
me.
You have to keep
moving.
going.
But there's a danger of burning it then because you
have
don't
to be
stop.
self-aware and self-regulate.
So I'm
as
getting
well.
better at learning that.
But yeah, look, we actually could just keep going here. I really appreciate you coming over.
No
you've gotten well, for me selfishly, like I've gotten a lot out of this.
Good.
It should be good for people are aspiring to be, and I'd love to have you back as well, like to get into some other stuff maybe sometime next year, I imagine. Cool. See how you're getting on with the other stuff.
I brought you something. There's
more
than one gift.
No way.
This is
what did we get?
I was thinking,
what is this?
I don't know. Have you heard of Tom Crean? Have you heard of Tom Crean? Oh, Tom Crean is an Irish legend.
Oh, brilliant. Who is he?
Tom Crean he was an Irish explorer. He was one of the guys to go to the Antarctic to reach the South Pole. And he went on 3 excursions to the South Pole in the early 1900s. He's from a place called Anniscall in Kerry. And in one of his excursions, he saved the lives of 2 men. With his bare hands, like he carried them, like he was just an amazing man. And I was down in Kerry in the summer, and I went to the bar. I'd been there before. It's a little bar called the South Pole Inn in Anniscall, and I went there for the second time last summer, and they were selling his own IPAs. There's 6. Now this isn't a plug or I just bought it because I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of him, so I bought that one, and I had it in the fridge, and I was listening to the
I did pause with Vagabond Queen.
Which was brilliant, and I must give her a shout online to say she's great. I'm a big fan of her. She sounds brilliant.
She's brilliant.
So I said, I cannot come here empty-handed. We
fair
need
play
to give you something. So
look at him, man.
I pulled that over the fridge, and I said, now, I don't know if you drink. Do you drink?
No, this is more of an ornament piece.
Sure, throw it away. Exactly, yeah. But they're kind of rare, and they make them down there in their brewery. And
brilliant.
And Tom Crean, look up Tom Crean, the legend.
I'm going to look that up, Oh, man.
There's a bit of publicity about him, books and stuff, more for kids and stuff like that, but he was just an amazing man. Like,
Thanks so much,
No matter, man. No problem. No problem.
That's brilliant. It's just so cool
something different.
To get a gift. I can't really put my finger on it. I haven't got... Because I'm just with the podcast and getting things, the idea of gifts, because there's a beautiful poem that I've heard about. It's called Giving, right?
Okay.
But to give something, you have to think about the person. You have to put them in your head and say, okay, what could I get this person? Like, I have this. So you're making the gift isn't the thing. It's the thought. I know the thought that counts, but it's more than that. It's like to think for some reason you thought I might like this because perhaps the interesting story. So you looked at me and thought potentially this is what he would like in a way, right? Of all the things that I could give him, right? Like, you know what I mean? That makes sense. This makes sense. So that but like subconsciously or consciously. So it's like it's considering the other person, and so I don't take it for granted. And I even when I'm giving other people stuff, I try to think, okay, what would they like? What would they want? And I know this might seem like a throwaway thing, but I really, it's just the act, and I really appreciate it.
No problem. Well, the work you're doing is important, because I was listening to your interview with PM Spunk as well, who I had on the show twice.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very talented spoken word artist or comedian or whatever. I don't know what he refers to himself.
On his Instagram thing, he's like a spoken word poet of an alternative nature or something.
Yeah, and
basically, I think what you're trying to allude to is that
you're giving people a platform.
Yeah.
When there aren't many platforms out there,
yes.
So people like you need to be thanked. Basically, that's why I brought that, because it's important. It's important what you're doing.
And
you know,
I want to be part of the ecosystem, as in I want to contribute to the ecosystem, and I have loads. Like, there's so many creatives that want to get on as well now. Not that I want to get on. I've been asked them, and they've been like, "Yeah, sure, I want to come on." They've never done a podcast before, in a way, and that's that's like my contribution, because I have all this stuff. I have a bit of like knowledge, and I was only literally talking about this with the other guy. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it burning into the next year, and
definitely.
we'll see that we'll stick this somewhere now. We're gonna need to get a new wall eventually.
Wall of gifts.
But no pressure on the next few guests. But look, you've been brilliant. I really appreciate it.
No bother, man.
I've
All the
gotten a lot
best.
out of this, and we'll catch you in the next one.